The Chicago Bears have won a home game for the first time in over 390 days. They beat the Raiders 30-12 at Soldier Field. My name is Harrison Graham. Lots of reaction and analysis to dive into here on today's show, but it was a great day at Soldier Field. Look, big picture, what does it mean? Hard to know for sure, but it's always a good feeling when you win a game. Tyson Bagent, lots to discuss there in his first NFL start. I thought he did some nice things. D'Onta Foreman, big game. Jaylon Johnson, big game on the defensive side. And the defense as a whole has really stepped up. They've played a lot better the last few weeks. So good performance overall. Let's go ahead and dive in here. I think takeaway number one is Tyson Bagent played well. I'm not going to call it more than what it is. I'm not going to call it less than what it is. This was high-level backup quarterback play. It absolutely was. He was efficient. He was smart with the football. If you had a 10-year vet as your backup play the way he did today, you would be pleased with the performance. 21 of 29, 162 yards, threw for a touchdown, did not turn the football over, had a couple of nice scrambles as well for first downs. He runs when he absolutely has to, 3 for 24, and I think 2 of those were for first downs. Listen, the kid managed the moment well, right? Like, this is a lot to ask out of an undrafted rookie. First start, you're 1-5. The team is struggling. The fan base is reeling. You haven't won a game since week 3 of last year, and you go out there and you put up an efficient performance. And for those watching live, Angel, we will get to your super chat in a moment. That's a big one. We'll get to that in a minute. But kudos to Tyson Bagent, man. Like, who knows what's going to happen next week, next month, next year, but he can always say that he won his first NFL start. He belongs here. I think that much is very much true. Can he be a long-term starter? I don't know. I think there's limitations with the arm strength and certain things, but he feels good in the pocket. He gets the ball out quickly. Like, he looks like someone who can be a high-level backup in this league. I'll say this. I want to see more. I think you start him against the Chargers next week. I don't think there's any scenario where Justin Fields is 100% for that game. Play Bagent next week, see how it goes, reevaluate after that game. If he plays well again, then maybe things spice up a bit. But I'm pleased with how Bagent played. Great moment for him, and I'm sure his family. I think he had 65 family and friend members in attendance today. What an opportunity, and I thought he seized the moment and handled it all very well. Round of applause to the secret Bagent, man. Shout out to Mark Carmen of CHGO for coming up with that song. Grade Tyson Bagent's first start. A, B, C, D, or F. I think all things considered, it's got to be like an A-. I can't give it an A or an A+. I mean, it's not like he went out there and threw for 300 yards, but managed the game well. A- for me. Kudos to Tyson Bagent. And, hey, if nothing else, if you evaluate this kid and you feel like he's a good long-term backup, that's fantastic too. You found this guy as an undrafted rookie, so give credit to where it's due. Ryan Poles and their staff for finding this kid. A, B, C, D, or F. I thought Bagent performed well. Got to talk about Deontay Foreman. Look, we just gave a ton of credit to Tyson Bagent. The offense ran through Deontay Foreman today. He was an absolute beast in this one. Got banged up a little bit late with the hip injury, but he came back in for a carry or two. 16 carries, 89 yards, 5.6 average, rushed for 2 touchdowns. The note says hat trick. Well, guess what? He caught a touchdown, too. I mean, Deontay Foreman, the only mistake he made was on the very first drive, he dropped a check down from Bagent. After that, he was tremendous. Now, similar-ish to Bagent in some sense, you're not getting a lot of 20, 30-yard runs or anything like that, but he can wear a defense down, man, and he just breaks tackles. He drives forward. He finishes runs. The pad level's good. Like, Deontay Foreman really was good in this game and had the 3 catches as well. So well over 100 all-purpose yards. I think 120 all-purpose in this game. 3 touchdowns. I mean, can you ask for more out of Deontay Foreman? This is a guy who was a healthy scratch for about a month behind Khalil, Herbert, Roschon, Johnson. And now he's getting his opportunity with Herbert on IR and Roschon, who's been in concussion protocol. I think he's a guy, regardless of when Herbert and Roschon get healthy, that deserves an opportunity in this rotation to get snaps. Look, he's not the greatest pass protector. At times he has drop issues, but as a pure downhill runner, he looks the part. He's proven in this league. Kudos to Deontay Foreman, man. He came out there and did well. Second straight week of running well for number 21. More post-game analysis to dive into here on today's show, but first we are sponsored by Factor. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, which they deliver meals straight to your doorstep. Healthy, chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals that you can get at your doorstep. And it only takes 2 minutes or less to prepare these meals because, look, let's be honest. During football season, especially if you're like me with the 6-month-old at home, it's hard to find time to prepare and cook long meals. Factor, delicious options, tons of different ones, including calorie-conscious options during the busy season. Try their Calorie Smart meals with around or less than 550 calories per serving. It's healthy, it's delicious, it's convenient more than anything else. And, by the way, they have certain meal options that don't even require a microwave. You can take their salad toppers, their grain bowls on the go. If you're someone who travels for work, Factor still has you covered. So here's what you got to do. Get 50% off with code BearsChat50 when you go to factormeals.com/BearsChat50. It's factormeals.com/BearsChat50. Get started with Factor today. Factormeals.com/BearsChat50. Code BearsChat50 for 50% off. All right, takeaway number 3. Do not trade Jaylon Johnson. I repeat, you cannot trade Jaylon Johnson. Jaylon Johnson is probably your second best football player. DJ Moore's your best. Jaylon Johnson's probably your second best. He had a pick 6 today, had a second interception today, and was awesome. He looked great. The drip was there with the orange long sleeves. That's not why you pay a guy, but Jaylon Johnson is a guy you can build with. I understand that you're still in a rebuild here. He's 24 years old. It's not like he's 30 and you have to make a tough decision. Just keep the guy. I get it. Teams are going to call. They're going to offer good stuff. Unless you're getting a first-round pick, which even then with how he played today, I'd have to think about it. Like, second or less, I'm not considering it. I'm keeping Jaylon Johnson. Brian Hoyer was throwing the ball up for grabs. Johnson had a breakup or two. He had 2 picks, including a pick 6. Like, I get it. I don't want to overreact to him having 2 picks, one off Brian Hoyer, one off Aiden O'Connell. But you know what? Jaylon Johnson's a good football player. He has said on the record that he wants to be here. He wants to be a Bear. He called Chicago his home. Like, Ryan Poles, if you're watching, if you're listening, if there's any chance of that, keep this guy. Pay him. He deserves to be here. He's a really good cornerback. Is he a top 5 corner in this league? No. Is he a CB1, though, for a lot of teams, including the Bears? There's no doubt about it. Keep Jaylon Johnson in Chicago. He's 24. Give him 3 years and $40 million, 3 for $45, whatever it takes. This guy is a building block. Do not trade Jaylon Johnson. What say you, Bears fans? What would you do with Jaylon Johnson with the trade deadline 9 days away? Type T for trade or P for pay. I'm hammering P for pay. He is a guy you keep around. T for trade, P for pay. Get your answers in the comments for Jaylon Johnson. Look, we got to give credit where it's due. The Bears' rush defense is legit. It actually is. And some of that credit has to go to Matt Eberflus. And I said this recently on a video. Matt Eberflus is a proven defensive coordinator in this league. I don't think he's a good head coach. I don't think he can be in charge of the whole ship. But can he run defense? Yeah, he can. This defense has been trending up for weeks now since he took over play calling for Alan Williams, who exited. For about 3 weeks now, this defense has been pretty damn good. They're really good against the run, like I mentioned there. Josh Jacobs, barely 3 yards per carry. I think the Bears were top 10 in run defense entering today. I would imagine they're only moving up that list. Pass defense is still suspect at times because the pass rush isn't great, and the secondary has been a little banged up. But the pass D was good today, too. I mentioned Jaylon Johnson with 2 picks. Tremaine Edmonds is playing better. He had another interception today. TJ Edwards has been solid all year. I got to give credit where it's due. If I'm going to rip this coaching staff for being inept at times, got to give them credit when they've been showing growth in certain areas. And this defense is playing good football. So kudos to Flus for that. Again, I don't think he's head coach material, but for running a defense, I think he can do that. He's proven over time that he can run a defense. Had a good run in Indianapolis. And then I mentioned it earlier, but I mentioned it again. Look, am I starting a QB controversy? Not necessarily, but I would start him next week. against the Chargers. I just don't see a scenario where Fields is 100%. And if that's not the case, look, I saw enough from Bagent today. Do I want to play Bagent or 75% Fields? Let's play Bagent, man. Give him another start. There's no harm. You're 2-5. It's not like, if it was a spot for to make the playoffs and Fields could go, you'd play Fields, but that's not the situation here. He's not going to be 100%. He dislocated his thumb a week ago. It's not going to be fully healed next week. I would give Bagent another start. I think he showed you enough where you can feel comfortable with him making another start. It is a road game against the Chargers in prime time, but Bears fans are going to travel. That's probably going to be a 50-50 split, if not advantage Bears at SoFi Stadium. It's not like it's going to be a crazy environment for Bagent. Give him another start. Type the TBs for Tyson Bagent in the comments if you agree with me. Get him back out there for another start. All right, guys, hit that subscribe button if you want more Bears content. Sub for Bears Dubs, latest Bears news, rumors, injury updates. It's going to be a hectic week. A lot of Bagent talk, I'm sure. Trade deadline's around the corner. Lots of things to discuss. Sub for Bears Dubs. Let's make it happen here on Chicago Bears Now.